Welcome in, everybody. It's a Thursday, and it's time for the EU SPL. I'm Agro, joined here by Anatoly. Anatoly, we got 3 sets of some EU SPL goodness.
We saw some really great action yesterday out of North America, transitioning now across the pond. I'm really excited, especially for this first set. We saw so much dominance out of Team Dignitas, but they're going against a team that's been struggling thus far, SK Gaming.
It's true. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen there. But we're here on Mixer here in Season 5. We got plenty of awesome stuff for you here. Interactivity, co-streaming, FTL technology, all of that courtesy of Mixer. Today's co-streams, you could watch Lobster or you could watch Zero. So you got 2 mid-lane options to really see that POV perspective and let you know what they're thinking at all times. I know I'll be watching it so that I don't feed it as many of my ranked games. We got the spring split all laid out for you here, guys. This is week 2, I do believe. Still, it's so many games, it still feels like we're later than we are, but not too long. We still got 6 weeks of competitions, double round robin format, and those best of 3 matches. We've seen a lot of these matches go to that 3rd game set, so keep an eye on that. You're going to get a definitive winner every single time here in Season 5. That's the spring split. Let's take a look at the entire year. 3 splits in total, spring, summer, fall, plus you got the gauntlet as well. Smite Masters, Summer Finals, those are going to be your earlier lands. Smite All-Stars is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Can't wait for us to release some details on that. And it all culminates with that Smite World Championship. That's what everyone is looking to make it for. Now, if you want to support your team in their journey towards that Smite World Championship, make sure you pick up their team badge. This helps support the organizations and the players and the Smite Esports prize pool. Totally, I think I've got a pretty good guess here, but which team badge do you have?
You know, I actually struggled to decide going into Season 5. I was leaning on Team Dignitas, being my former organization, but I actually had to go for Team Rival.
Really?
I'm really good friends with the boys there, and I just like their evolution throughout the seasons.
Well, I mean, you could buy them all, and you can't really go wrong with these team badges here in Season 5. As I said, today we're on EU, but yesterday we had NA, and if you missed it, let's take a look at the standings so you can see exactly what you missed. Counter Logic Gaming ended up coming out on top yesterday. They were up top, but this is actually the EU schedule that we're checking out right here. Obey versus Mouse. Obey able to get themselves on the board at the end of on Wednesday, and then Rival versus Dig. Dignitas kept their perfect record going. So this is a really competitive EU region that I think that we're just going to see get even better here.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think Dignitas can really be stopped here. Losing one of the maps there towards Team Rival was an interesting factor to see how Season 5 progressed between, these 2 game splits into best of 3 rather, and we can see that right there. Dignitas at the top. Right behind them is going to be Team Rival. Have yet to really face off against Energy, so I'm excited to see once Team Dignitas does go up against that squad.
I'm excited to see what Energy can do. Only 1 game so far in this season. They're going to get a doubleheader here today, but they'll be the second 2 matches. The first match that we're going to see, as you mentioned earlier on, SK versus Dignitas. SK was near the bottom of that standings list. You saw them there sitting at 0-1. This team definitely has a lot of potential, but they needed to make some changes, picking up Badja in that support role, but sticking with Fails and Ducky on the right side of the map.
This is just a team that has a lot of fun playing together, honestly. Badja provides such a unique chemistry in that squad. Being led by, Papa Lob, a player that has a lot of experience in the SPL. Unfortunately for them, in the first week, they dropped to Mouseboards 1-2. Couldn't find the victory in that set, but if there's ever a time to start off strong, remember, this is only their 2nd set of Season 5. If they win here against Dignitas, the momentum, I think, can easily carry them throughout the rest of the season.
Without a doubt, and it's not one of those situations where, they lost to Mousesports, this team has no chance against Dignitas. Really, with only 6 teams in the SPL, it feels like anyone can beat anybody at any given time, and I feel like SK has a chance to do that today, but they've got their work cut out for them. Dignitas is a powerhouse of a team, and they've looked like it so far here in Season 5. No changes coming over from Season 4, and you could expect that these exact same 5 guys who were dominant for most of Season 4 are looking to do the same here in S5.
It's really refreshing to see how they handled that Season 4 loss at the end of the Super Regionals, dropping to group play, losing their first 3 games of the first day, not making it to Worlds, but still coming out so strong here in Season 5. Guns blazing, just picking different gods in the support role, making people's lives really annoying in the jungle and the solo between Cubo, Fred, and Variety, dominating that side of the map.
And when they're dominating, that opens the door for Zeros to dominate in the later game. 4.0 KDA so far here in Season 5, 8-1. That's just a testament to how good Dignitas has been. But Zeros has looked really, really strong. And as you were just saying, the meta feels very mid and assassin oriented right now. And as far as mid assassin combinations, you're talking Zeros Cuvo Fred. It doesn't get much better than that.
Oh, absolutely. And many times Cuvo Fred was able to get the dodge G, but I'm expecting this time around, I don't think SK Gaming is going to go that same route.
And not if they want to win. I think that they should probably try and avoid that. But that's the problem, is that right now there's so many strong picks and so many different roles, and there's so much flexibility as well. I mean, Mouse Sports has proved that you can pick anything and basically put it anywhere and at least have some chance of success. So is the Dodgy, are you really looking at for Cuvo Fred to be the focus in the picks and bans for SK, or are you looking maybe at Zeros in the mid lane?
It's a jungler season. Season 5, it's dictating the pacing of the game, and no other than Cuvo Fred can do it stronger. I think that he is probably one of the best junglers right now in the world, considering that there's so many elite class out there. You know, Anits are going back in the jungle, always talking about adapting, but Cuvo Fred has always been consistent, and I don't think he's actually even hit his ceiling yet.
No, I don't think so either. He's been phenomenal. He was last year as well, just had the rough land, as they all did on the side of Dignitas. We're going to move on from that talking point eventually, but it stays relevant for so long that, you know, these guys had the same thing happen to them in Season 3, again in Season 4. It's tough to kind of move away from it at times. SK's in that first pick position. They're going to ban away Cullen and the Circuit. So that's looking at Variety and Cuvo Fred, the combination, as you were touching on earlier, whereas Dignitas themselves, they'll take away a mid and a jungler in Nemesis and Thoth.
And the Cullen is also a great ban from SK, considering that Dignitas is known to flex that pick. Cullen's support provides so much damage and utility for the Hunter to be able to chase down the enemy and look for a lot of easy poke opportunities, zoning them away from golden experience. Giannis, though, first pick from SK, a guy that's heavily prioritized in Season 5 with how wide the map is. Those portals just doing extra oomph.
I mean, you saw it in the highlights there. Both Lobster and Zeros had highlights on the Giannis, so no surprise that SK is willing to try and take it away with that first selection. But it does open up Ullr and the Dodgy that you were worried about. Arco looked great on the Ullr on Wednesday. Now the Dodgy here for Cuvo Fred. That's a really scary 2 picks early for Dig.
That's true. I remember that set against Rival where I believe he soloed Vote
Yes.
Soul around a corner. He was like level 7. It wasn't even like a full build Ullr yet again, but Ratatasker and Camazotz is the response towards this Ullr Dodgy. Great picks considering you could still flex those 2 gods. Both Rat and Camazotz heavily favored in the soul lane with how much sustain that they can bring.
Exactly. So we'll see, but I imagine that'll be Rat Jungle, Camazotz solo. That's kind of been the prevailing theory there, is that Camazotz is one of the best, if not the best, assassin in the solo lane. Soul banned away after Dig pick up the Discordia. Discordia is one of those mages that I thought that we'd really be seeing more Agni, you know, gods like that accelerate in the mid game very well and do very well for themselves in the early to mid and can still hold the ball late. But Discordia seems to be one of the priority picks here in Europe.
It's a similar idea behind the Agni, where Agni can bomb over the walls, Discordia can strife over the walls as well. You hit 2 targets and then all of a sudden that root becomes a Manus effect that can easily turn the tide of a battle. And not only that, it's just one of those things that makes it so difficult to siege into. Without a Thoth, you're looking for either a long-range ability mage to kind of hold that front line in Bay, or something that provides a lot of crowd control like Discordia can.
Well, Sobek picked up here. Feels like Trixtank has played exclusively Warriors in the support role so far in Season 5, so I wouldn't be surprised if this Sobek has really slotted in for Variety. We'll have to wait and see with Dignitas' last pick. SK, on the other hand, they're going to go Hu Yi and the Terra. Totally, I thought Terra was dead. What happened? We're seeing her all the time now.
It's like I mentioned before, mobility is the key factor towards Season 5. Any sort of global pressure you can bring to a team will give you that little push over the edge. Terra's Blessing giving you the mobility. You can use it anywhere on the map, giving you that cooldown reduction, giving you the clear casting. It's a jack of all trades almost.
Well, on the other side, it is the Amaterasu, and as I mentioned, that feels like it's going to be for Trixtank, Sobek in the solo lane potentially here for Variety. Plenty of global presence, I'll say, from SK. Giannis ultimate, Ratatosker has a semi-global with his through the Cosmos, and then Terra ultimate as well. Can Dig try and find the individual fights in the jungles and in the lanes? Do you think Dig is able to take it?
Oh, absolutely. I think Dignitas' composition is just superior to SK. I think the Discordia is going to provide more utility than the Giannis will.
All right, let's kick it off. EU SPL here on a Thursday. We got the casters to bring Game 1.
Yeah, thanks so much, Aggro and Toli. We're here for game one between Dig and SK Gaming. Big set for SK. They've got a busy week this week. Not only they got Dig, they've got to face Energy afterwards.
Exactly. Two powerhouses here. Energy has looked like the better team, comparatively speaking, to Obey, and them and Dignitas seem to be the number one and number two. SK have to go punching up against those players. It's going to be tough.
This game, though, who do you guys at home think are going to win this one? Vote in Mixer chat right now, and we'll find out and talk to you about it during the set, too, because for me, it's always interesting to see, is it more fan favorites that get the vote, or are people actually looking at the comps and what their real expectations are?
I think the true expectation, I think a lot of people at home think that the black and yellow are going to be the top card. Dignitas had a stutter step last year that was really big. They didn't even make it to Worlds, but for my money, still one of the best teams on the planet.
Completely the same there too. I mean, you've seen my power rankings to an extent and what my expectations are. I do predict Dig was going to be towards the top. After beating Rival already, they're looking in good stead for that. And today, well, this matchup's interesting with how these picks and bans are falling out, getting both Dodgy and Discordia. Although it is up against the Giannis and Ratatoska, so this isn't terrible comps. I love both.
I mean, the Discordia, it was very. The desk said that Discordia might have more utility than Giannis. That in this game is what they were talking about.
Okay,
I see where they're coming from. But at this point in the world, you know, I don't think that Discordia is the numero uno character that a lot of people thought she was when she came out. I can think of a number of gods in that mid lane that are very, very powerful. Discordia does her thing, but by no means is she overpowered.
I think she's very strong. She has a lot of ability to her in terms of having the opportunity to escape a lot of things because of the immunity frames during her leap attempt. And on top of that, the Strife. If it hits two people, it's great. Hits one, not as good as you would hope for. Early warning placed down by Dignitas between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 towers. We've seen a bit more of that. Funball is very deep here, overextended, and the collapse has been good. This is a free kill. Funball just caught out of position. One quick sprint, Tom, and first blood's over to Arkill. This is going to be a terrible lane.
And this is something that we've seen happen time and time again. Not necessarily Funball falling early, but the supports for going traditional items instead of going for the upgraded actives. Sprint 3, as we call it, the upgraded sprint, is going to remove the penalty you get for basic attacks, so that's why we were able to see Arkill just chase the player down.
I'm just working out where Badger was then. That's the only reason I paused, because I'm like, what was Badger doing? Was he saving some more gold in base there? He's got the upgraded sprint and plenty of potions. Wonder if he stuck around for another potion at the start of the game to like top that up, potentially. Not really sure exactly what happened. The good news is, though, for SK, I mean, it wasn't Badger that died for first blood. I'm always going to fire that shot. I mean, he knows it. But instead, Funballer took that for him, you know? Teamwork, that's what it's about.
Still a bad look across the way when you're against the Uller building into that Transcendence. He is basically rushing to the Transcendence anyway, just helping him out there. Not what you're looking for.
Yeah, a bit of Death Day in this lane, especially Amaterasu and Ult paired together. Terra and Hou-Yi will come online a little bit later in this laning phase, but they're doing a good job of poking down for now. And here's the aggression coming out from Dig.
Nice stun, and this could be number 2 for Funball. The follow-up damage is there, but unfortunately, that sprint is going to be on cooldown, so Dig can't chase all the way home. Funball survives with about 30%.
And Dig abusing the situation. The bead's being burned already from Funballer in that lane. Funballer's going to play very safe. Has a bit of sustain, though, with this Terror. Will tick him back up to a bit of a healthier pool and has potions in tow. Mid lane, mainly the 2v2 is happening right now. It's always interesting to see what the junglers do in Season 2.
Yeah, this time around we see the junglers hang out with the mid laner, kind of like it's Season 4.
I don't know why I said Season 2. I felt like it's because I feel like the meta dictates a lot like Season 2. Like the early mid game, not as important as it used to be in Season 4 and Season 3. But you can get off to a really good tear. We saw SEA earlier today. You know, you get off to a good start. You can continue the pressure, but it's not the be-all and end-all of the game.
Well, Season 2 was mid-Harpies, so still.
Yeah.
You're more right than you're wrong, Hinduman.
Makes a change. Makes a change indeed. Cuvo Fred play the dodgy once again. Cuvo Fred once again vying to try and get him named in terms of the jungle position of being one of the best in the worlds. And so far his performances have looked up to scratch.
I love dodgy for Cuvo Fred because for what Cuvo Fred brings to mind when I think about it are... wow. Yeah.
What?
No way.
Oh,
no way.
Okay, that was the wrong way round. Okay, production just let me know that's not correct. 91% believe Dignitas are going to win. I was like, all right, boys, whoever's in chat right now, I don't know what you guys are smoking, but you need to share in the cast if you think only 9% of you think that Dignitas are going to win this game. No, it's 9% only think SK will win. Arkill getting aggressed on, has to beat, sleep away, Badger around the back, slowing down Trickstank. 3 members of SK trying to defend their red, and it's not going to happen.
That's what the poll looks like after 4 Long Islands.
Oh, throwback already.
I really hope you guys watched the Smite Global Series today. We had a player named 4 Long Islands playing in the Southeast Asian region. It was a lot of fun. But going to this Daji pick, Cubo Fred is, I like him on hard carry gods that can also provide a bit of control. Not the Ymir jungles,
Sure.
the Thors.
Sure.
That's who comes to mind when Cubo Fred's playing. So the Daji, hard carry, but that ultimate's going to provide a little bit of control. Raven, hard carry, but a little bit of control.
Think about all the gods we always see Cubo run in the jungle. They do have some control. Even the Guardians, Kubrakan.
Hard carry,
Raven.
little bit of control.
Raven.
Exactly.
Same sort of thing. Has some CC in there just to help out a little bit with his team, set things up for themselves. And he's never scared to go to the back line, is Cubo Fred. Dignitas on the duo side, though, really continuing to pressure SK Gaming here. Level 5 already for them. And you can see how far behind SK is across the map now. Everybody in Dignitas has their ultimate available. Many members of SK still to find theirs.
And even the goal, just 1,300 in the lead for Team Dignitas. And not all of that comes from the first blood. I mean, that's 400 at most, right?
I tell you, when we bring the graphs up, I'm going not towards the gold. It's that experience. 2,000 in the early stages really makes an impact. Main thing is, though, is SK can just weather the storm in the early game. As they transition a little bit towards the later stages of the mid game, they will be able to farm back into it with the likes of this Giannis.
And this is a very unfortunate game, I think, for Fails here, because we've mentioned it time and time again. The jungler is really the driver here, but unfortunately for Fails, the driver, his companion in the back seat just kind of flattened the right tire, you know? And it's tough for the Rat to get things going when he knows that he won't have control of that dual lane.
Yeah, and then talking about the dual lane a little bit more, I mean, SK now just needs to farm up. They've got to put that one death behind them, the fact that that's the only death that happened. It was first blood before minions spawned. Let's just focus on farming up again now, not making any more mistakes. But it was a great start for Dignitas.
So moving in towards the mid portion of the game, still very much in the early game, but I want to do a little bit of foresight here. I think that Team Dignitas are going to look towards zeros as the game gets later and later. But for right now, a lot's riding on Cubo Fred and where he's going to be on the map. You can see Fails matching that, and there's a flip to put Ducky in a bad spot.
Ducky going to get some chops done to him by Cubo Fred. Support from Variety here, who uses the lurk in the water. And Variety takes a lot of poke, but Cubo goes back in, and the nice ultimate timing from Variety there, and Cubo Fred to make sure they all fall back. This is a battle of wits between the two junglers for a second, but they all both ended at about the same time.
You got to know the timing on that one. Here on the left-hand side, timing is perfect for Team
Beautiful.
Dignitas. The stun, and Arkle sends them back to the asylum. Badger's going to sit this one out.
And Badger, only level 4 there, didn't have his ultimate available to try and get that burst of speed that may have got him away from Trixtank's ultimate. Trixtank really going back to the Warriors this year, Tom, something that we've seen Trixtank for years, and the old days, Season 1, Season 2, that's where he always found his money.
Trixtank really excels at cutting the enemy down and using using calculated aggression, very specifically calculated right there, because he doesn't go out sort of willy-nilly. He knows what he's doing when he's playing aggressive. Warriors have been his style going back 5 years to launch tournament, winning on Sun Wukong support in those finals at launch tournament. Yeah. So
Guan Yu too.
Yep, Guan Yu, Sun Wukong. So seeing him on the Warriors, this is nice, clean Trixtank style.
And that's one of the things about Trixtank where he struggled when he has had to play those Guardians. He's always played it with the warrior mentality, and that's when he's always found trouble now and again, where he's got a little bit too aggressive too early, or not had the damage to pull it as much off as he wanted to.
That's why I always liked Trixtank on characters like Ymir. He very rarely brings them out, but I like his mentality with that aggression. So I'm very happy as an analyst that wants to see the good players succeed. I think Team Dignitas is extremely adept. I think that Super Regionals last year was a fluke in the bad sense, and that they can absolutely bounce back, and a lot will be riding on Cubo and Trix for the regular season.
Well, 91% of you in chat will be very happy about how Dignitas are looking here, and Arkle nearly fully stacked on that Transcendence already. Funballer has got his completed, but he's got a lot more stacks to go. This is definitely a situation where Funballer needs to hug this tower and pray to all the other gods not involved in the map that he can just survive this laning phase.
At the same time, I think the true sprint is finished. Finishing that Transcendence is perhaps more important than the actual stacks. That 10% cooldown and the mana you get right away, really choice.
And the supports both going for Talaria boots this game, that extra mobility coming into a factor. I like the changes to Talaria boots this year as well, Tom. I mean, in the old days, it used to be bonus movement speed when out of combat, but now, you know, you get those boots, you forego some power, and you forego some survivability with those boots, but you get that extra mobility throughout the whole game.
Yeah, you're talking 25% movement speed here, just regular, and leaving the base, you get a boost. And talking about a boost,
Oh, wow.
SK Gaming, no clue. Gold Fury goes to Team Dig, nice and easy.
And you know it was completely no clue because you would have at least seen a Lobster cheeky attempt with the through space and time to steal it away. Funballer will secure his own purple buff on this left-hand side for the time being, taking that away from Dignitas, but the Golden experience heavily in the side of Dig.
So looking at Fails here on the right of task here. Gonna make a play over here on the left side for the Harpies. Dodgy instead gonna go aggressive, and that's
Decent
the
time.
bite.
Oh, nice little jump from Cubo Fred. Pretty sure he timed that nicely because he could have just like walked through that gap, but he
Yep.
had a feeling Lobster, a former playmate of his, or teammate I should say, not playmate. On top of that, just gonna continue to make sure he recognizes what Lobster was gonna do in that situation.
Right. Now, I was starting to talk about Fails and his lack of ability to control this game because Cubo just started everything off so fast. We're seeing Fails instead follow the enemy jungler, which is unfortunately, this is tough to explain. It's not good, but it's the best he can do right now.
Right-hand side, you did see the attempt at stealing away the blue buff from Ducky. Ducky was looking to try and steal Variety's blue buff away. Didn't find it though, and one thing I've noticed is Variety really likes his Sobek against the Kamazots. It's the second time we've seen him go to Sobek whenever he's against some sort of sustain in this lane, specifically the Assassin.
Well, he does have the anti-heal on the Sickening Strike. He's going to have a lot of sustain himself, healing and mana-wise. Ducky flipped up. Cubo's in the jungle.
There could be trouble ahead. Ducky going to ult early to try and reduce as much damage as possible, but in an awkward spot to get away still. Even more members coming away as Trixtank turns up looking
Nice
for the
play.
stun, but Fails did a good job of disengaging for his teammate.
Really big play by Fails, and that's sort of what I was talking about, where that's not ideal. You ideally are the one making the gank, getting the kill, and getting the hell out of there. But Fails is doing the best thing he can do, being down 3,000 gold, just following the engagements and making sure to disrupt whatever it is that Cubo has planned.
And there's two forms of counter-engage, Tom, isn't there? There's always the one where you're going for the kill to counter-initiate, or just to peel. It's
Right.
a peel defense counter-initiation there, and that's kind of what SK need to do in this early game.
Yeah, SK Gaming have to just realize, look, they beat us up. They got the early kill on a fun ball, and now they're just taking our stuff. It is what it is. Bad is going to toss out a rock wall and try there, but SK need to just stick in the jungle, get some farm, and kind of put their heads down and ignore Team Dignitas for the next 5 minutes.
But the problem is what do they do after that? In the next 5 minutes, if they continue to lose things in the jungle, Tom, is it just about securing their own jungle at this stage?
Exactly. If they put their heads down, they avoid engagements, and they really commit to having multiple players at those buffs so they can't get invaded, then in the next 5-6 minutes, SK will match this 3,000 gold lead that Team Dignitas have. It's not that big, and it can absolutely be taken back by just paying attention to the farm.
You can actually see Fails is a little bit further ahead than that of Cubo Fred in terms of experience, but right inside we've got another gank attempt. Cubo's over here, as is Fails, but it looks like it was spotted, this Fails gank this time, and the counter gank at least. The patience a little bit better. Fails still going aggressive onto Variety as Lobster now comes over.
And again, love this play. I want to see SK back off real quick because the microcosm that was the jungler is the perfect example. Cubo has been very active looking for ganks. Fails has disrupted one of those, and because Fails has spent more time doing his class work and getting his experience on the way, Cubo Fred has about half a level down on him. So Fails is able to what Fails did right there to get half a level of experience. That's what the rest of his team needs to do individually, and then they even the game up like that.
Now Lobster was very quiet in the early stages, but you saw his first attempt to the right-hand side to support his team. It's because he got that Chronos Pendant finished now. That's pretty much the core you need here after with that Giannis. It allows you so much more of everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's 20% CDR off the bat, plus more because of the passive. It's consistently ticking down. And interesting here, it's about 90 power.
Oh, Fails is in a lot of trouble thrown into the air. Great stun on Cubo Fred to deny the option. And Cubo tried to dash with the teleport onto Fails, but only caught his teammate instead. Now he's in a tricky spot. Paolau's early down and the blink away to make sure Ducky can't give chase, but space of time. Juked out by Cubo. Can they keep going? No is the answer. It's Variety that's now the focus.
He's going to pop the ultimate. Nice portal coming out from Papalov, and Ducky puts one down and gets SK Gaming on the board. Zero's rotation is a century too late. He's pretty much here just to play D.
Left-hand side, keep an eye on Arkil. Now he's looking for a tricky little sneaky bait around the corner, but Funballer sniffed that out straight away. I love what Arkil was doing there.
Yeah.
Wait for the full minion wave, and Funballer's going to take the trade. Arkil did not show any respect. Suns just off the mark by a hair, but Fails is back over here to clean it up.
Get what you deserve. Funball with the quick reaction play, able to turn it around. Those choke points, we were talking about how Hou-Yi players, you know, Fred gonna walk away. Hou-Yi players kind of had to relearn some of these points on the map, but anybody that's ever played Hou-Yi before looks at these entrances to the lanes and go, look, I don't gotta learn nothing for that one.
Yeah.
That's a triple.
Big mistake from Arkil there, in my opinion. Like, you can't just ignore the person. He predicted that Funballer would just go at the wave and farm and ignore him, but hey, you're gonna sit between two choke points like that. A Hou-Yi's gonna turn around every day and go, you know what? I fancy me luck.
I don't mind the play from Arkle. So
The
Arkle
gank attempt is great. I think the continuation is where it went wrong.
Sure. Arkle had about a 3-level lead, right? There's the idea of taking your lead and making moves that you can't do when you're even. That proxy kill, right? That's a play. Arkle was calculated aggression. Again, pedal to the metal, but I understand where and when to move.
Well, they've stopped the bleed here, SK Gaming, at least, with a couple of kills answered back. Trick's taking a bit of an awkward position, going to get hit by that ricochet. Nicely done by Funballer, but now that Arkill's back, you'll see SK just walk away.
And in fact, last point on that one, Arkle only dies because Fails makes the rotation, and Arkle's only there because he sees Fails
Everyone
in the solo
inside.
lane.
Yep.
So that's the right information, the right call per se, but Fails made a brilliant decision to beeline it to that engagement.
Experience is getting a little bit closer now. Biggest difference, though, is between the supports. And this should be go time for Dignitas. Using this secondary relic, the Trick should be going to buy here to maybe try and set something up with this next Gold Fury.
Yeah, level 12 is a big boost for the supports. Left side, Lobster gonna pop the ultimate and bring SK Gaming over to the side of Team Dignitas. Trick's tank gets his ultimate dodged out by Funball. It's a one-on-one over there as a little bit of help comes, but Fails in the sky.
Yeah, Lobster took a lot of poke from Cubo Fred, though. Trick's tank still under pressure. The Suns did a lot of damage there. Badger can't continue the chase at all. And SK Gaming looking very worse for wear here as Cubo Fred now has the power.
Funball forces his own teammate into the portal, right into the clutches of Cubo Fred. Unfortunately, nothing Funball could do there. Gets hit by the Apple of Discord from Zeros. The AoE damage is too much. Lobster goes to a portal right into the middle of Team Dig.
Tell you, that ultimate from Darji, very underestimate how much damage that can do. Small target, very similar to Rama's ultimate, but if you can connect with them, the damage alone can be your demise, not necessarily the following up CC that will be applied.
Level 1, you're talking 100 plus damage per chain hit, so
Pretty solid.
yeah, it's not any damage to scoff at. SK Gaming now have this is a bad spot. They need to fight into this, no questions asked.
But it's only Funballer around and Badger, all ultimates on
Suns.
cooldown, and immediately Dignitas will just strip it away once more. Second goal for the game.
Yeesh.
Into the coffers of Dignitas, just extending that lead a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, SK Gaming needed to fight into that, but don't get me wrong. There's no way that they didn't even have the resources to show up. That's a really bad spot for SK Gaming to be in. Now you're looking at 5,000 gold. Funball able to jump over some nonsense, but I don't know, man. 5,000 gold at this point. SK Gaming only 16 in. They have to do more than just before. I said you put your head down, you farm, and you passively get back into it.
Yep.
Now they have to look for a proactive solution.
So he's going to go aggressive, maybe? Calculated aggression, maybe?
That's exactly it. SK Gaming have to find a way to open the door for an objective. There's a couple of ways to do that. One, you can find the individual pickoff, whether that means a one-on-one over here in the solo lane or just a straggler caught in the jungle. Two, you can find the mismatch. Bait somebody into looking to help out one side of the map while you collapse on somebody with the number advantage on the other. But you have to make a proactive play here. If you just sit down and farm, you're going to find yourself losing the game eventually.
Awkward position then for SK Gaming at 17 minutes in. Funballer has returned to base though, got his Crusher online, so he's not too far behind in terms of build of Arkil. Definitely down 3 levels, however. And that's where the mismatch has kind of been. Ever since that first blood, it's kind of just put him on the back foot here, SK Gaming. Now, because of that pressure, it means Badger's over there more often, which now means that Dignitas managed to take that tower in mid for free.
SK Gaming is too far behind in experience right now to really play defense there. You can see they're spread out across the map. One player on the right, one player on the left, and 3 there in the mid. Well, Team Dig just sort of walks in and takes that tier 1.
There's a bit of a power play coming up for Lobster soon, though. Looking like he's going for the Soul Reaver next, more than likely. If he does go for the Soul Reaver, I think it's a good choice. Try and get that extra burst that he's going to be required to try and get this team back into game 1.
And so normally we see mages start off with what I call a power bank or a power battery, an item like Book of Thoth or Warlock Staff. Lobster are going to be in trouble as Fails goes to the sky.
Going to try and secure this for his team, but I don't think he managed to get there in time. Damage is off the mark. No!
It happened!
Stolen! SK Gaming get it, and now Ducky, though, the last remnant trying to get away, but the portals are available. Very important. You were asking for it, Tom. They needed to find something, and that's what they got.
Unfortunately, the Pyromancer is not the ideal objective. You're just getting a handful of gold. Better than nothing, and perhaps more importantly, it shows the mindset that SK are in. They understand that they have to be proactive, and sitting on their hands isn't going to be enough to get them back in this game. So I applaud Fails because, again, as a jungler, it's your job to drive the tempo.
And now, Funballer up against 2 on this left-hand side. Could use the ultimate just to deny them getting that tower down. There was also a rotation coming from SK Gaming there, so wise of Dignitas to back up. I think the one thing I'm concerned about, Tom, is something that the SK boys of Lobster and Funballer have experienced before is they don't have that much peel for the backline on this squad. You honestly, plenty of self-peel, but I think we're going to see Funballer having to rely a lot more on Badger this game because Ducky going for this Kamazot, it's not someone that's got a lot of peel in this kit.
0 CC virtually outside of
a slow.
Exactly. So you're looking at Fails coming from the sky and Badger trying to help by way of, slows and stuff like that. Definitely a lack of hard crowd control.
Funballer could be in a bit of trouble here as Cuvo Fred was trying to wrap around the back on his former teammate, but eyes were aware from SK Gaming. Badger joins him and even Fails hanging around in the jungle. Don't think he can stop the purple though unless he gets lucky. And I don't think that was the case this time round. But his Tricksack getting all in right now. Has to ult defensively. And round the corner came Lobster into the ultimate to get stunned. But that's all they wanted. They wanted to try and steal away the purple and they'll back away.
I think Dig did want more and Lobster said no. They got the purple, and Dig said, hey, we're still here. We're down to fight you and kill you. And then an unstable vortex comes through a rock, and then Team Dignitas turn tail. Again, Lobster's presence alone deters the aggression.
Tricksack still very far forward here, but with the mobility Amaterasu has, won't be too worried, as well as the tankiness in the build, sovereignty online already, and fully stacked Gauntlet of Thebes.
So the Book of Thoth is coming here. Normally we would see that Soul Reaver, like you said. Funball going to get silenced out, but the stun will miss, so no more aggression here in the dual lane. That Book of Thoth is to allow the Chronos Pendant to be built without any care about the lack of power on it.
Sure, the mana regen allows him to get more power from it at the end of the day as well, which will help out. And guess this is what SK's plan then, go for the real late game, get that power spike, which you don't lose as much as you used to with the Chronos Pendant because it got some buffs in terms of the power output of it, but still, Book of Thoth, a very, very valuable item.
Right, basically what I was talking about before was that most mages start off with an item that provides at least 100 power. Book of Thoth, Warlock Staff, all provide more than that. You're going 90 by taking the Chronos Pendant, but I like Lobster's thought process. Much more CDR. Giannis early game is all about utility. I want to pump my ultimates. I want to pump my portals to allow my jungler to escape. And then late game, I'll two-shot him.
Mid lane, though, we're not spoke about Zeros because most of the time in the first few minutes of the game, or the first 20 minutes of the game, Zeros is all about farm. And you can see that because he's the first player to reach level 20 already. Just under, I should say, a level a minute, which is something that we were talking about previous seasons. You're looking at a level a minute. It's a bit more difficult in Season 5.
Left side, Gold Fury respawned. Dig were here the moment it spawned and waited a while, so you know that they're looking for this objective.
But SK also noticed that too, sending over Ducky here too to make sure this is even and doesn't go down as quickly or for free as they have do the last 2 times. Remember the Pyromancer? That was the last neutral objective that was contested, and SK came out on top. But Lobster is caught in an awkward spot and getting rid of that space and time. Could be a go point now for for Dignitas as they now look towards Ducky.
They're going to surround the solo laner, and he'll be trouble. Oh, man, he's going to be able to get out. Nice knock-up almost stopped him in his tracks, but Ducky ultimately does find the exit.
But that's 2 ultimates used by SK Gaming on defense. Their Badgers and now Lobsters on cooldown, which makes it a little bit trickier for them to try and contest the gold, and the burst damage is too much. Will they take a fight after is the question.
They absolutely need to, and SK Gaming seem to have gotten that memo as well. Down from the sky comes Fails, looking for the
Cubo.
knockup, not going to be found. There's Cubo in front of the Powwow,
Gets
and no targets.
beads out of Lobster, though. That's the big thing there. Did connect with at least one, but forcing those beads, very important. So now more pressure onto SK Gaming. What do you want from Dig next? Are we going Pyro here? Fire, maybe? It looks like it.
Literally anything. I don't think right now when you're 6,000, 7,000 gold up here for Team Dignitas, with the way that SK's been playing and their itemization, this is, I don't care what you do as long as you fight SK like this, lure the enemy into your clutches, and already 2 players, one of which is a support, is already half.
While this fight's going on, though, look at how Dignitas are backing away, because in the left-hand lane, Arkell has stuck around there, realizing this bait from from Dignitas has given up a free tier 2 tower. So they do find an objective. It's not a neutral one, though.
No, not at all. And this is Dignitas understanding how to play from behind. Yes, I got my teams correct, by the way. They understand that SK Gaming have to be proactive, so they force SK to fight them at the Portal Demon, where they know that they can take them 4-on-5, send the Hunter to the left-hand side, and they can get 2 birds for the price of 1.
So Lobster down level 18 in the mid lane, working towards his Soul Gem, which is another core component of most mages this time round. Although we need to be careful of Arkell flanking around the back of him. Arkell versus Giannis, but Giannis will get away. I was only nervous because he'd already wasted his beads earlier on.
Yep.
His beads were on cooldown. So that meant he was in much more of an awkward position if Arkell would have found the axe.
And Arkell is well aware that his beads are on cooldown as well, which is the key point there. He shows up, finds an axe stun, and Giannis probably dead at that point.
Still an exciting game, though, between the two, even with only 5 kills. Kind of what you expect out of 2 teams in Europe. Generally, they do like to try and keep it active as much as possible. There's just never kills. It's always a chess match between European teams.
Well, right now, Fails in some trouble. 2 players in Dig jerseys on top, forced into the ultimate, but the hot hands gets the kill, number 4 for Team Dig.
I think when those chops were coming through, it should have just been time to ult immediately.
Yep.
Obviously, the silence from Trigsank slowed him down a little bit from that, but probably ult early.
The thought process there, of course, as Team Dignitas pick up the Portal Demon, is that without the semi-global ultimate from the Ratatasker, Fire Giant is that much easier. That's why we saw Fails try to hold on to it.
Mid lane, Lobster's just trying to continue farming up, but the Fire Giant started here by Dignitas. Lobster is around the back, has his space in time available. Resets happen, though, as they all invest into Ducky, who has to ult defensively, but he's done his job for the time being. Badger getting plucked, puts him in a tricky spot, but double dash to safety means it's Funballer could be the next one on the cards, and he chose the path towards mid, where there's no tower. Badger, meanwhile, gets invested on and picked up. Funballer soon to drop 2, and Lobster and Ducky are running the wrong side of the map to get away.
Man, really unfortunate stuff for SK. Really unfortunate stuff for Lobster. Because Lobster had a fantastic plan there. The Giannis's and the mid lane mages that have the long range secure, they always come up one of 2 or 3 paths, right? So Lobster takes the absolute long way around, comes behind Team Dignitas, where they're looking for the Giannis. If Team Dignitas stick their face in, they go, he's not here, he's on the other side of the map, we don't got to worry about it. The problem was the rest of SK Gaming baited a fight that they didn't want. If everybody shut up and walked away like they were going to give it to Team Dig, that's a steal for Lobster.
And with that, the Fire Giant will fall down here. Dignitas get the Fire Giant and will immediately go to the right-hand side. Lobster and Fails both trying to split push a little bit, get a bit more farm for themselves, try and complete some of these important items to try and answer back the aggression from Dig. Defense is what I'm looking at next, and against the Fire Giant. Obviously, Tier 2's not really defended this season at the moment,
Right.
Tom. Phoenix's, however, though, how is their clear looking? How is their defense going to look in this comp?
I mean, right away you look at Funball. Funball has one of the best defensive options when playing here against a team that's this far up. You drop the Suns, and you at least guarantee yourself an extra wave of breathing room. Nobody wants to walk into the Suns. It's going to kill all the minions, and you have to force the team to sort of wait again. So you've got that option. Ducky on the Camazotz. This character doesn't really provide much, especially when compared to traditional solo laners by way of defense. So that's actually a big hamstring for SK.
We'll see what they can do then, because at the moment, Dignitas have taken all the towers now. They're not going to invest in the Phoenix just yet. Because the Gold Fury is about to spawn, might as well use the gold they just picked up, because it's not useful until you've based.
And this right here, you see Cubo Fred and Dignitas waiting for the Gold Fury. Everybody's basically full build. You got a couple of starter items still here available, but this is more importantly about denying SK the gold. They're at the point now, this has actually been a wonderful teaching tool. SK have been in a couple of different positions where their decision tree to get back into the game are very, very different. And right now, their plan has to be just wait till we have enough gold where gold's irrelevant. So getting things like a sneaky Gold Fury while if you get a Gold Fury while they're taking a tier 2 tower, that's cheese on the cake. Sure. So that's really what SK is looking for. They got to just put their head down and hope it takes Team Dignitas long enough to push into the base that they can amass the gold.
And it's been one of those plays from Lobster, which makes sense really. Farm up, try and get some item speed to look for that one-shot potential. That's what Giannis can bring here. Potentially hit multiple members of the team with a Soul Gem proc, Space and Time, or Stable Vortex, whichever you want. But he needs those items online, and now he's got the Obsidian Shard finished. He'll even start to hurt some of these tanks too. But it's all about this play on defense and where it's going to come from, how it's going to work, and if Dignitas end up making a mistake.
You see Lobster playing his role on the right-hand side. Now, the Giannis ultimate was changed coming into Season 5. The extra damage it does over distance has been reduced a little bit in lieu of giving him a little bit more upfront damage, but it is there. So having Giannis as your lone player, we see the 4-1 split a lot. Having Giannis as that far-away player is a nice look.
All 5 on the left-hand side from Dignitas now. Still in the mid lane is Lobster, as the aggression is really focused around the Phoenix now. Badger trying to tank up some of the autos in the front line and doing a good job of that for now. Like the fact he kept that heal down on the ground so he couldn't get knocked up by Variety there. So one of Terra's passive that really comes into play. But Trix doesn't really care. Trix is going to keep investing in and forcing Lobster out. Phoenix taking a long time though here, Tom.
Exactly. Team Dignitas haven't really cracked this SK Gaming defense, and an ultimate hasn't been used up until Badger pops the ult. And there's Ducky trying to play aggressive, pushing Dig off just a little bit.
He's going to go down to Cubo though, who chased him down and took out the Giannis. Now the Phoenix falls down, and immediately Dignitas can rotate towards mid if they so choose. Looks like that's the call. Won't even have minions there already too.
Man, you heard my sigh. Bad ultimate from Funball and unnecessary bad ultimate from Fails right here. Two great tools that SK have at their disposal. One was baited out by Dig, and I think Funball was just a little bit too trigger happy on his, and 2 birds are already down. This right one, really no chance to play defense.
Well, there's 4 members here against 5, I should say, of Dignitas, but the pluck is good. On to Funballer, who leaps to the sky, but he's still going to get run down here as they all collapse around him. Aegis used 2. Arkill credit for the kill. And when you look at this one after and what happened in it, it kind of goes back to that very first blood and the moments soon after.
Pretty much. I mean, Team Dignitas just took an inch and turned it into a mile. Really just, this is what you have to expect out of a team with this caliber. SK Gaming came out and I think surprised a lot of people last week with how good they played. Team Dignitas, just a different level.
91% of you were correct for game 1. We'll find out if that stat gets any worse this game after that. I mean, 9% only voted for SK, but could go lower.
Yeah, no, it was, like I said, I mean, Dignitas just seems like the team to beat online right now.
Yep, and they're going to continue to be that throughout the reason. Well, who do you guys think at home was MVP in that game? There's a couple of arguable names that could be put forward. I think the duo lane did very good work for themselves. Cubo's scoreline again, and then the silent but deadly as always Variety and Lobster is always causing problems.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Zeros.
I think it's going to be a focus on the jungler, the hunter. Arkle definitely had a lot of success, as did Cubo, Fred. I mean, watching these guys is a gas.
Yep, really, really good plays from them. And with that, let's head it over to the desk where Aggro and Tully are standing by.
Thank you very much, guys. Dignitas continues their dominance here. Game 1 goes their way, and it all looks pretty easy, Tully. I mean, as the casters mentioned, first blood, that dual lane just got off to a tear.
That's the best way to start the game. Have your Ullr just get the first kill there, and that just shuts down so much momentum onto Funballer. A player that likes to play aggressive, shows that he's not going to be able to make any single plays now in the duel, and as a result now, this Amaterasu on Trixtain gets super ahead now because the Terra level 1 struggles from behind especially, so that was just a win from Dignitas since that beginning. But then, the way they transitioned that lead, they didn't let that get ahead of themselves, right? They took their lead, were very methodical about it. The end of the game was only 10 kills to 2, very Season 2 European-esque style.
Yeah, I mean, dominant for sure, and that's kind of what these guys have been known for a while now, even harkening back to Season 2. The Terra level 1, as you mentioned, very, very hard to fight in that situation, but you have to use those walls to block off the wave a little bit, and Badja didn't quite get that going in his direction. Then they find the first blood in that duo lane, and Badja was behind basically all game, and that meant that he couldn't stop Cuvo Fred from killing all of his backliners. Cuvo Fred is your MVP for game number 1. This Dodgy continues to be a phenomenal pick for him. I mean, it was just mind-blowing to me that they're willing to give it to him. I can't imagine that they'll do it again here, totally.
Yeah, especially considering that, you know, Lobster and Zeros, they like the Giannis first pick, so that gave the Dodgy for Cuvo Fred immediately after. Not only that, but the Uller for Arkil getting that first blood. I think Picks and Bans was heavily won by Dignitas, even though Nico looked, you know, pretty comfortable, I would say, on his Camazotz. I'm sorry, we saw Ducky there on the Camazotz, but he was still needing a little bit more rotations and needing to make more of a presence towards that middle portion of the map.
I mean, when you put your first 2 picks as Uller and Dodgy, and one of the first things we talk about coming into the post-game here is Uller and Dodgy and how well they did. Clearly, Dignitas' Picks and Bans working for them so far. Lobster on the Giannis didn't have a bad game by any stretch, but just never felt like he was really able to make that impact that you want your first pick to do for you.
And that's something that Dodgy just prevents, even as such a safe god as Giannis. There's a few junglers that can kind of make the Giannis life a living hell.
Yeah.
Susanoo is one of them. Dodgy is another that can easily kind of go through walls and chase him down. At the end of the day, though, I definitely think that SK should take themselves away from the Giannis prioritization and look to stop Cuvo Fred.
Well, Cuvo got off to a tear that time, but again, it was the first blood in the duo lane there for Arkil and Trixtank. This is just kind of what you do as an Uller, and I love this kind of trend that we're seeing of Sprint being upgraded right at the beginning. It allows kills like that to happen. Normally that is a lot harder to confirm. As soon as Funball uses the beads, he can get away from that most of the time, but when you pop that Sprint 3, now you've got your Hunter with the Fatalis style auto attacks. Even Trixtank's going to be doing a lot of damage at that point with the Warrior support. So that was the beginning of the end for SK in game number 1, but it's time to